Did you know that African countries trade more with non-African countries than with each other? Can you imagine the untapped potential if this were reversed? Today, we are diving into a trade agreement that's set to change the game in Africa, the African Continental Free Trade Area, or AfCFTA. Stick around to learn about this historic agreement can open new doors for your business and contribute to a more prosperous, interconnected Africa.
Hi, my name is Olatunji Abdulrazak. I am the founder and CEO of taxmobile.online. Welcome to my YouTube channel, A Stitch in Tax Saves Cash. This channel is dedicated to helping you stay on top of your taxes. We will provide you with tips and strategies to help you keep more money in your pockets and minimize your tax liability while you stay in compliance with tax laws. So, if you want to start taking control of your finances from today, hit the subscribe button below and click the notification bells to stay updated on our latest videos.
First thing first, what is AfCFTA? The African Continental Free Trade Area is a major trade agreement that brings together 55 African Union member states to create a single unified market where goods, services, investments, and people can move freely. Think of it like the European Union single market, but for Africa. Now, let's talk about the objectives of Africa. Boost intra-African trade. Prior to this agreement, African countries trade more with non-African countries than with each other. For instance, in 2017, intra-African trade was only about 17% of Africa's exports, whereas intra-European trade was about 69%. The agreement aims to change that by eliminating tariffs on 90% of goods and reducing other trade barriers. Boosting intra-African trade can stimulate economic growth, diversify economies, and reduce dependency on external markets as it allows African businesses to tap into a larger, more accessible market. Promote industrialization. Many African economies rely heavily on exporting raw materials, which makes them vulnerable to global price fluctuations. By facilitating a larger and more integrated market, AfCFTA encourages the development of regional value chains. This means countries can engage in more advanced manufacturing processes and add value to their raw materials. And as industrialization leads to job creation, technology transfer, and skills development, this can transform economies from being resource dependent to being more diversified and resilient. Drive sustainable economic growth. With a combined GDP of approximately $3.4 trillion, AfCFTA has the potential to become one of the largest free trade areas in the world by population and economic size. But beyond just economic growth, AfCFTA emphasizes sustainable development by benefiting a broad spectrum of society and being environmentally sustainable. This means eradicating poverty, creating decent jobs, and ensuring that economic gains are evenly distributed. AfCFTA aims to achieve its objective by elimination of tariffs and trade barriers. Member states have committed to reduce tariffs on 90% of goods over 5 years and 10 years for least developed countries. Efforts are also focused on reducing non-tariff barriers such as lengthy customs procedures, import quotas, and technical standards that impede trade. This would lower the cost of goods traded between African countries. Facilitation of free movement. AfCFTA also promotes the free movement of goods, services, business persons, and investments. This makes it easier for businesses to expand across the continent and for investors to find new opportunities, thereby facilitating more market access and investment opportunities for African businesses. Harmonization of trade policies. AfCFTA aims to harmonize trade policies, regulations, and standards across member states, thereby reducing the complexity and cost of doing business across borders. It also establishes a robust dispute resolution mechanisms to handle trade disputes fairly and transparently, thereby providing confidence to businesses and investors. In line with the objectives set forth, the following are the expected outcomes: economic integration, improved competitiveness, and economic diversification. Now, let's discuss the history and development of AfCFTA. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a vital part of the African Union's long-term vision to integrate African economies and boost intra-African trade. This vision is rooted in the African Union's Agenda 2063, which aims to transform Africa into a global powerhouse through inclusive growth, sustainable development, political unity, good governance, peace, and security. AfCFTA emerged as one of the flagship projects of the Agenda 2063, and it officially commenced its operation on January 1st, 2021. The agreement encompasses all 55 African Union member states, making it one of the largest free trade areas globally in terms of participating countries. As of the launch date, 54 out of 55 African Union member states had signed the AfCFTA agreement, with 36 countries ratifying it. This rapid signing and ratification process underscored the strong political will across the continent to achieve economic integration. To oversee the implementation of the agreement and ensure that member states adhere to their commitment, the AfCFTA Secretariat was established in Accra, Ghana. Now, let's highlight the key milestones in AfCFTA's development. AfCFTA's development was split into two main negotiation phases. In phase 1, the focus was on trade in goods and services and establishing a dispute settlement mechanism. Trade in goods featured tariff reductions. Member states agreed to reduce tariff on 90% of goods, which would progressively be done over 5 years or 10 years for least developed countries. Rules of origin. Agreements were made to determine which products qualify for preferential treatment under AfCFTA. Trade in service featured sector liberalization. Member states committed to liberalizing key service sectors, including business services, communications, financial services, tourism, and transport. Dispute settlement mechanism. A formal dispute settlement mechanism was set up to resolve trade disputes fairly and transparently, thereby providing confidence to businesses and investors. The phase 2 focused on more complex areas like investments, intellectual property rights, and competition policy. Investment featured protection and promotion. A continental framework was developed to protect and promote investments, creating a more secure environment for investors. Intellectual property rights featured. Intellectual property right framework. An intellectual property right framework was established to protect innovations, promote creativity, and ensure fair competition. Competition policy featured. Regulatory harmonization. Competition policy was implemented to prevent anti-competitive practices and create a level playing field for businesses. Now, let's highlight some of the challenges faced. Implementation. Ensuring effective implementation of the agreement across diverse economies with varying levels of development and infrastructure. Capacity building. Providing technical assistance and capacity building to member states to help them comply with the agreement and fully benefit from it. Monitoring and evaluation. Setting up robust monitoring and evaluation mechanism to track progress, address issues promptly, and make necessary adjustments to the agreement. In summary, the African Continental Free Trade Area is a groundbreaking initiative aimed at integrating African economies and boosting intra-African trade. By uniting 55 member states into a single market, AfCFTA opened up vast opportunities for businesses across the continent. It represents a historic opportunity with profound impact, ranging from boosting trade and industrialization to fostering sustainability. Understanding AfCFTA goals and milestones helps stakeholders navigate its complexities and seize its opportunities, thereby building a more unified, prosperous, and resilient Africa.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. If you have any questions or want to share your thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more insightful content. Also remember to watch our previous videos.